On New Year's Eve, my childhood friend's champagne toast turned venomous when she exposed my $11.7 million stock options, claiming I owed her for our shared past, a debt I never knew I carried. My name's Lucas Navarro, 34, and I live in Asheville, North Carolina, a city of misty mountains and artsy vibes that feels like it's trying to hug you with its fog. I'm a software engineer, the kind who stumbled into tech because I was good at untangling code like it was a puzzle, not because I dreamed of Silicon Valley. I work remotely for a fintech startup, a gig that's less glamorous than it sounds, but pays well enough to afford a small house with a view of the Blue Ridge. I'm single, no kids, and my life's mostly quiet. Hiking trails, local brews, and the occasional video call with my parents in Miami, where I grew up. I'm Cuban-American, raised on abuela's arroz con pollo and stories of Havana before the revolution. Family's everything, but I've always been the odd one out. The kid who'd rather read sci-fi than dance at quinceañeras. Then there's Vanessa Delgado, 35, my childhood friend, or at least she was. Vanessa's also from Miami, born to Puerto Rican parents who ran a bodega near my parents' apartment. We met in 3rd grade when she stole my Pokemon cards and gave them back because she felt bad. That was Vanessa, bold, impulsive, but soft under the bravado. We were inseparable through high school. Her sneaking us into clubs with fake IDs, me helping her pass algebra. She was the spark, I was the anchor. Our dynamic worked. She wanted to be a singer, always belting Selena covers at talent shows, dreaming of LA. I wanted stability, a life where I didn't have to hustle like my parents did. After high school, things shifted. I got a scholarship to UNC Chapel Hill for computer science. Vanessa stayed in Miami, chasing gigs that never panned out. We kept in touch, but it was spotty. Texts on birthdays, memes in group chats. She'd call sometimes, usually when she was drunk or broke, reminiscing about the good days. I'd listen. Send her $50 here or there, because that's what you do for someone who knows your dumbest secrets. By my mid-20s, I was building apps in Raleigh, then moved to Asheville for the quieter life. Vanessa bounced between Miami, Orlando, and eventually Nashville, still chasing music but working odd jobs, bartending, retail, even a stint as a Lyft driver. She'd post on Instagram about big things coming, but her stories were mostly bar selfies and vague rants about fake people. Our lives diverged, but the thread never snapped. She'd visit once every couple of years, crashing on my couch, filling my house with her loud laugh and cigarette smoke. I didn't mind. She was family in that messy, unspoken way. Last I heard, she was in Nashville, managing a dive bar and dating some guitarist named Trey. I figured she was fine, just living her chaotic life. My stock options? That's the other piece. In 2019, I joined a fintech startup. A risky move for a guy who likes predictability. They offered me equity, 0.5% of the company, as part of my comp package. I didn't think much of it. Startups fail all the time, but this one didn't. By 2024, we'd gone public, and my shares were worth $11.7 million on paper. I hadn't cashed out yet. Taxes are a nightmare, and I'm cautious. But the number sat there, surreal, in my brokerage account. I told almost no one. Not my parents, who'd worry about me losing it all. Not my coworkers, who'd treat me differently. The only person who knew was my financial advisor, a dry guy named Greg, who talks like he's reading a spreadsheet. Vanessa didn't know. Or so I thought. I'd mentioned the startup to her years ago, back when it was just a scrappy team in a WeWork. She'd laughed, called it nerd stuff, and changed the subject to her latest demo tape. I never brought it up again. Why would I? Money changes things, and I liked our friendship the way it was. Uneven, nostalgic, but real. That brings us to New Year's Eve 2024. Vanessa texted me in November, saying she'd be in Asheville for a music festival and wanted to catch up. I was thrilled. It had been 3 years since her last visit, and I missed her energy. I offered my guest room. She said she'd bring wine and stories. I pictured us laughing over old photos, maybe hiking to Catawba Falls. I didn't know. She'd been digging into my life, piecing together clues I hadn't realized I'd left. I didn't know she'd show up with a grudge, a plan, and a number, $11.7 million, that would crack our past wide open. New Year's Eve 2024 started with a deceptive glow, like the calm before a storm you don't see coming. Asheville was buzzing. Streets lit with fairy lights, bars packed with folks chasing a fresh start. My house smelled of cedar from the Christmas tree I hadn't taken down, and I'd spent the morning tidying for Vanessa's arrival. She rolled in around 6 p.m., her beat-up Subaru crunching the gravel driveway. She looked the same but sharper. Hair dyed jet black, leather jacket. A smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Lucas, you bougie bastard," she teased, hugging. me tight. Her perfume was cheap and strong, like always. She dropped a bottle of Prosecco on the counter and tossed her duffel in the guest room. I chalked up her edge to the long drive from Nashville. We planned a low-key night, dinner at a taco joint downtown, then back to my place for drinks and the ball drop on TV. Vanessa was chatty, recounting bar fights and a fling with a drummer, who ghosted her for a groupie. I laughed, nodded, poured us wine. But something felt off. She kept glancing at my house, new hardwood floors, the view of the mountains, like she was casing it. "You're doing all right, huh?" she said, swirling her glass. I shrugged. "Pays the bills." She smirked, and I didn't like it. After tacos, we walked back through the chilly streets, her boots clicking on the pavement. She was quieter now, scrolling her phone, muttering about people who forget where they came from. I asked if she was okay. She waved me off. "Just tired, mijo." Back home, we cracked the Prosecco and settled on the couch. The TV blared Ryan Seacrest. Fireworks popped outside. I was tipsy, nostalgic, ready to toast old times. Vanessa wasn't. She sat stiff, clutching her glass, staring at me like I'd stolen something. At 11:30, she stood abruptly, went to her bag, and pulled out a manila folder. My stomach twisted. "What's that?" I asked, trying to sound casual. She didn't answer, just slapped the folder on the coffee table. Papers spilled out, screenshots, articles, a printout of a Bloomberg article about my startup's IPO. My name was highlighted in yellow, so was $11.7 million in vested stock options. My mouth went dry. "Vanessa, where'd you get this?" She laughed, a brittle sound. "You think you can hide shit like that, Lucas? I'm not stupid. I saw your company go public, did some digging. Public records, dummy. You're sitting on a fortune and you never said a word." Her voice was low, venomous. I stammered. "I didn't. It's not like I'm cashing it out. It's just there." Wrong answer. Her eyes flashed. "Just there? While I'm slinging beers for tips? You owe me, Lucas." "Owe you?" I stood, heart pounding. "For what?" She stepped closer, jabbing a finger. "For us. For Miami. For all the times I had your back, sneaking you out, covering for you, keeping your secrets. We were a team. You don't get to run off, get rich, and pretend I don't exist." I blinked, reeling. "Vanessa, I helped you. Money crashes on my couch. How is that pretending?" she scoffed. "Crumbs, Lucas. You gave me crumbs while you're a fucking millionaire." The clock ticked closer to midnight. Fireworks boomed louder. She laid it out. She wanted $2 million. "Call it back, pay for our past," she said, arms crossed. "Or I tell everyone, your family, your job, the internet, how you screwed over your best friend." I laughed, incredulous. But it died in my throat. She wasn't joking. Her folder had more. Old texts I'd sent her about the startup. A photo of us at 16, my signature on some high school pact we'd made to always split the winnings. It was nonsense, but it looked damning. "Vanessa, this is insane," I said, voice shaking. "You can't blackmail me over a teenage promise." She leaned in, eyes cold. "Try me. I've got nothing to lose. You do." The TV counted down. 10, 9, 8. I felt trapped, my cozy life cracking. "Why now?" I whispered. She smirked. "Because I'm done waiting for you to remember me." 3, 2, 1. The crowd cheered. Vanessa raised her glass. "Happy New Year, Lucas. You've got till morning to decide." She walked to the guest room, leaving me with her folder and a sinking dread. Vanessa's ultimatum hung in the air like smoke, choking me as the New Year's cheers faded on the TV. I stood frozen in my living room, the manila folder on the coffee table glaring like evidence in a trial I didn't know I was part of. My first instinct was to laugh it off. $2 million. For what? Nostalgia? But her eyes, cold and unyielding, told me she wasn't bluffing. I grabbed a beer from the fridge, cracked it open, and sat on the couch, staring at the papers. My hands shook. This wasn't the Vanessa I knew, the one who'd split her last cigarette with me at 17. Or maybe it was, and I'd been too naive to see it. I flipped through her evidence. Screenshots of my LinkedIn, a grainy photo of us signing that dumb high school pact. Lucas and Vanessa, ride or die, split the winnings, always. It was a joke, scrawled on a Burger King napkin after we'd pooled $5 for a lottery ticket. Now it felt like a contract she'd weaponized. The Bloomberg article stung most. My name, my stock options, my life, dissected like I was some tech, Bro stereotype. I hadn't told anyone because I wasn't that guy. I didn't buy a Tesla or flaunt it on Instagram. I was still Lucas, the kid who ate rice and beans to save for rent. How did she even find this? I paced, beer untouched. Part of me wanted to call her bluff. Blackmail? She had no legal ground. That napkin wasn't binding. It was teenage bullshit. But the threat to go public, my parents, my co-workers, the internet, hit hard. My mom would cry, thinking I'd betrayed someone she saw as a daughter. My startups team would side-eye me, assuming I was hoarding wealth. And the internet? It'd eat me alive, spinning me as a greedy asshole who ditched his roots. Asheville's small. Gossip spreads like wildfire. I imagined Vanessa tweeting, "Millionaire friend forgot the little people," with that photo of us at 16. It'd be viral by lunch. I knocked on the guest room door. No answer. "Vanessa, we need to talk." Silence. I cracked the door. She was on her phone, earbuds in, ignoring me. Classic. I shut it, fuming. I wasn't wiring her $2 million. That was absurd. But I couldn't just kick her out. She'd escalate. I needed time. Proof she was bluffing. Or at least a way to neutralize her. I grabbed my laptop, searched her name, her socials, anything. Her Instagram was public. Bar selfies, vague rants, a recent post about karma coming. For the disloyal. My gut twisted. She'd been planning this. By 3 a.m., I'd drafted a text to my lawyer friend, Sam, but didn't send it. Instead, I wrote in my journal. "She's betting I'll cave to save face. I won't, but I need a plan." I wasn't sleeping tonight. Vanessa's threat detonated my New Year's Eve, and by morning the shockwaves hit. I barely slept, my journal filled with frantic scribbles about her demand. At 8 a.m., I heard her in the kitchen, humming like nothing happened. I walked in. She was making coffee, wearing my UNC hoodie like we were still kids. "Morning, Lucas," she said, smirking. "Sleep on it?" I wanted to scream, but I kept it cool. "We're talking now." She shrugged, pouring cream. "You're called Amijo?" I laid it out. $2 million was insane, and her evidence was a joke. She didn't flinch. "You think I won't post? Your mom's gonna love hearing you ditched me." That hit low. My parents adored Vanessa. They'd believe her sob story. I told her to leave. She laughed, grabbed her bag, and said, "You've got a week. I'll be in touch." She left the folder on the counter and drove off, her Subaru's taillights fading into the fog. I called Sam, my lawyer friend, and spilled everything. He was blunt. "She's got nothing legally, but she can make your life hell online." He suggested documenting everything. Texts, that folder, her threats. I sent him photos of the papers, my hands shaking. Sam warned me to stay off social media. Vanessa might bait me. I checked her Instagram anyway. She'd posted a cryptic story. Some people forget their roots. Big mistake. My stomach sank. I called my sister Elena in Miami. She was 38, no nonsense, and knew Vanessa's drama. "She's jealous, Lucas," Elena said. "You made it, she didn't. Don't pay her a dime." But she hesitated when I mentioned Mom. "Don't tell Mommy yet. She'll take Vanessa's side." That hurt. My parents saw Vanessa as family, not the manipulator she'd become. Elena promised to dig into Vanessa's Nashville life, maybe find dirt to counter her. By noon, my phone buzzed with a text from an old Miami friend, Carlos. "Yo, Vanessa's telling people you owe her for back in the day. What's up?" She was already spreading her narrative. I didn't reply, but panic crept in. Asheville's tech scene is tight. If this hit my coworkers, I'd be the guy who screwed his friend. I emailed my boss, vague but honest. "Personal issue with an old friend. Might get messy online." He replied, "Keep us posted. Stay professional." Cold, but fair. Vanessa's folder haunted me. Screenshots, that napkin, her curated lies. I realized she'd been stalking my life for months, maybe years, piecing together my success to weaponize it. The betrayal stung worse than the threat. I'd trusted her, let her crash here, sent her money when she was broke. Now she was painting me as the villain. I stared at my brokerage account, $11.7 million, a number that felt like a curse. Sam called back. "She's bluffing, but bluffs can still ruin you. Stay calm." Easier said than done. Vanessa's ripples were spreading, and I was drowning in them. 7. Vanessa's threat left me rattled, but I wasn't about to let her rewrite my life. A week after she stormed out, I sat in my Asheville living room, the manila folder now in a locked drawer. I'd spent days obsessing, but Sam's advice, "Stay calm," gather proof grounded me. I wasn't paying her $2 million, not a cent. She'd miscalculated, thinking guilt would break me. It didn't. It made me fight. I started with her digital trail. Elena, my sister, dug into Vanessa's Nashville life. She found Vanessa's ex, Trey, who spilled on Reddit's IR Nashville. Vanessa had a pattern, latching onto people, milking them for cash, then ghosting when they pushed back. Trey said she'd bragged about a big score from an old friend. Me. I screenshotted it, sent it to Sam. He drafted a cease and desist letter, citing harassment and defamation. It wouldn't hold up in court, but it'd scare her. We mailed it to her bar's address. Next, I called my parents. I'd dreaded this, but I couldn't let Vanessa spin her tale first. Mom cried, saying, "Vanessa's like family." Dad was quieter, asking, "Did you promise her anything?" I showed them the napkin pact over FaceTime. A silly teenage scribble. Mom softened. Dad said, "She's desperate, Lucas. Protect yourself." Their trust meant everything. I felt lighter. Vanessa's social media campaign fizzled. Her vague posts got a few likes, mostly from randos. Carlos, our Miami friend, shut her down in a group chat. "Stop lying, V. Lucas isn't your ATM." She stopped texting me, probably spooked by the letter. Sam monitored her accounts. She went quiet, then posted about moving on. I wasn't fooled. She'd resurface someday. But I'd be ready. The $11.7 million loomed. I met Greg, my financial advisor, at a coffee shop. "Cash out a chunk," he said. "Diversify. Live your life." I sold 10% of my shares, netting $1 million. After taxes, I donated $50,000 to a Miami youth center, anonymously, in honor of the kid I was with, Vanessa. Dreamers who deserved better. The rest went into a trust for my parents and Elena's kids. I kept working. The startup was my pride, not just a paycheck. Reflecting, I saw Vanessa clearly. She wasn't evil, just broken, chasing a life that never came, resenting mine. I pitied her, but pity doesn't mean forgiveness. She'd burned our past for a fantasy payday. I mourned the friend I thought she was, but I didn't owe her my future. My Asheville nights are quieter now, the mountains steady outside my window. I hike, code, live. If Vanessa calls again, I won't answer. I've got my people, Elena, Sam, my parents, and a life I built, not one I owe. The folder stays locked, a reminder. Trust is earned, and I'm done paying for promises I never made.